The chamber was filled with worried voices. Representatives from 1,000 different worlds sat in the Great Hall, all talking at once. Their fear filled the air like smoke. The Galactic Council had gathered for an emergency meeting, and everyone knew why. The Drakath were winning. Commander Hana stood at the back of the chamber, her uniform crisp and perfect. She looked like any other young officer in the Galactic Defense Force. Her dark hair was pulled back tight. Her face showed no emotion, but inside her heart was racing. She listened to every word being said. Admiral Krelvoth stepped forward to speak. He was a Veltaran, tall and covered in silver scales that caught the light. His species had led the Galactic Council for 500 years. They were known for their wisdom and their careful planning. But now even Krelvoth looked tired. The Drakath have taken 15 more systems, he said. His voice was heavy. Our fleets cannot hold them back. They are too strong, too fast. Every battle we fight, we lose more ships, more people. A representative from the Krelon stood up. Her skin was blue and she had 4 arms. 2 of them were shaking. My homeworld was attacked yesterday. Half of our cities are burning. They took our children, our families. What can we do? Silence fell over the chamber. No one had an answer. The Drakath Empire had appeared 20 years ago from beyond the Outer Rim. At first, the Council tried to make peace with them. They sent diplomats and gifts. They offered trade agreements and friendship. The Drakath killed the diplomats and kept the gifts. Then they began their conquest. They were ruthless. They did not negotiate. They did not show mercy. World after world fell to their forces. The Galactic Defense Force fought back, but it was not enough. The Drakath were simply better at war. They had been fighting for thousands of years while most Council species had known only peace. An old scholar rose slowly from his seat. He was from a species that looked like walking trees, with bark-like skin and leaves growing from his shoulders. His voice was soft and dry like rustling paper. Perhaps, he said slowly, it is time to consider the old stories. Krelvoth turned to him. What stories? The legends of the Terrans, the scholar said. The warriors from the Forbidden Sector. Several representatives laughed. Others shook their heads. Hana felt her hands form into fists, but she kept them at her sides. She did not move. Those are just stories, a representative said. Tales to make children brave. There is no such place as Earth. There are no humans. The scholar nodded slowly. Perhaps. But the legends say they came from a world that tried to kill them every day. A world of predators and storms and diseases. They say the Terrans learned to fight everything, even their own planet. They say these humans felt fear like everyone else, but they did not let fear stop them. Fairy tales, Krelvoth said firmly. We need real solutions, not ancient myths. But the scholar continued. The stories say they were pack hunters, that they bonded with each other so strongly. They would die before leaving a friend behind. They say humans made war into an art, that they studied every battle, learned from every mistake. The legends say they were the most dangerous species in the galaxy because they never gave up. Then where are they? Someone shouted. If these humans are so powerful, why have they not helped us? The old texts say they vanished, the scholar replied. 300 years ago, there was contact. Something went wrong. The humans disappeared behind a barrier in the Sol sector. No ship that enters that space ever returns. The sector is marked as forbidden on all star charts. More laughter filled the chamber. Hana felt her jaw tighten. She wanted to speak. She wanted to tell them the truth. But she had promised to stay silent. She had given her word. We are desperate if we are discussing myths, Krelvoth said. The Drakath are real. Our losses are real. We need weapons and ships and warriors, not bedtime stories about ghost species. The meeting continued for hours. Plans were made and discarded. Strategies were discussed and rejected. By the end, nothing had been decided except that they would keep fighting, keep dying, keep hoping for a miracle that would not come. As the representatives filed out of the chamber, Hana saw Ambassador Yoon across the room. He was human too, though no one else knew it. He was old now, with gray hair and deep lines on his face. He had lived among the aliens for 40 years, always hiding what he was, always pretending to be from a minor world on the far edge of council space. Their eyes met. Yoon gave a tiny nod. Then he turned and left through a side door. Hana waited 10 minutes before following. She found him in a small garden outside the council building. Real plants grew there, brought from different worlds. The flowers were strange colors. The trees had leaves that sang in the wind. They do not believe, Hana said quietly. They think we are stories. Yun looked up at the sky. 3 moons hung above them, each a different color. Good, that was the point. We hid so they would forget, so they would be safe from us. But now they need us. Yes. What do we do? Yun reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device. It looked like a simple communicator, but Hana knew what it really was. An emergency beacon. It had not been used in 200 years. We were supposed to wait, Yun said. Wait until we were sure we had changed. Wait until we were certain we would not repeat the mistakes of the past. And have we changed? Yun smiled sadly. I do not know. But I know that good people are dying. I know that children are being taken from their families. I know that the galaxy needs help and we have the power to give it. He activated the beacon. A soft blue light pulsed from it once, twice, 3 times. Then it went dark. What did you do? Hana asked. I sent a message home, Yun said. To Earth, to the Terran Defense Fleet. I told them that the galaxy needs us, that it is time to stop hiding. Hana felt her heart beating faster. They will come. They will come. They have been watching us from the shadows, waiting for this moment. Our ships are ready. Our people are trained. We have spent 300 years preparing to be worthy of returning to the galaxy. And if we are not ready, if we are still too dangerous? Yun looked at her with tired eyes. Then we will learn again. But we cannot hide anymore. Not when people need help. Far above them, beyond the atmosphere, beyond the moons in the darkness of space, something received the signal. Computers that had been silent for centuries suddenly came alive. Lights flickered on in ships that had been waiting in the dark. Crews rushed to their stations. The message was simple, just 3 words, come home now. And from the shadows of the Sol sector, humanity began to move. The refugee ships were dying. 6 vessels limped through space, their engines flickering. Inside them were the last survivors of the Krelon homeworld. Mothers held children. The old and sick lay in the cargo holds. They had escaped the Drakath invasion with nothing but their lives, and now even those were about to be taken. Behind them, 3 Drakath warships closed in like wolves chasing wounded deer. Captain Jin sat in the command chair of the Defiant Dream and watched the battle on his screens. His ship was hidden, invisible to all sensors. It had been following the Galactic Defense Force patrol for 3 days, observing, learning. The stealth technology was perfect. No one knew humans were there. They will not make it, Lieutenant Mina said from the tactical station. She was young but brilliant. Her fingers moved across her controls, calculating trajectories and weapon ranges. The refugee ships will be destroyed in 14 minutes. Jin nodded. He had known this moment would come. For 200 years, humans had watched the galaxy from the shadows. They had seen wars and peace, had observed 1,000 species living their lives. But they had not interfered. Those were the rules. Stay hidden, stay quiet. Let the galaxy forget that humans existed. But the rules were made when the galaxy was at peace. Commander Hana's scout ship is moving, said Tay from the pilot station. He was the youngest member of the crew, barely 23. His hands were steady on the controls. She is breaking formation with the Galactic Fleet. She is going to help them. Jin smiled slightly. Hana had been undercover for 5 years, pretending to be from a minor species. She had followed every rule perfectly, but now, seeing people about to die, she could not stay away. That was very human of her. Sir, Mina said, if we help, we will be revealing ourselves. The orders were clear. We wait for the signal from Ambassador Yun. Jin looked at the screen. The refugee ships were firing their last weapons. It was useless. The Drakath shields absorbed the shots easily. Soon the killing would begin. The Drakath did not take prisoners. They did not show mercy. Tay, Jin said, quietly, what is our response time if we engage? 3.2 seconds to decloak and fire, sir. Mina, what are our chances of stopping all 3 enemy ships? 97%, sir, but I know we will be breaking protocol. Jin stood up. Contact the fleet. Tell them the Terran Defense Fleet is announcing its presence. Tell them humans are real and we are here to help. Mina hesitated for only a moment. Then she smiled. Yes, sir. Hana's scout ship reached the refugees first. Her small vessel positioned itself between them and the Drakath warships. It was a brave gesture, but meaningless. Her ship had one small cannon and light shields. The Dracath would destroy her in seconds. The lead Dracath ship opened communications. The captain appeared on all screens. He was massive, covered in red scales and battle scars. His teeth were sharp, and his eyes were cruel. "Little ship," he growled. "Move aside or die with them." Hana's voice was steady. "I cannot do that." The Dracath captain laughed. "Then you will die. Your bravery is noted and useless." He raised his hand to give the order to fire. But before he could speak, every sensor on his ship began screaming warnings. Ships appeared out of nowhere. One moment the space was empty. The next moment, 38 human vessels materialized around the Dracath warships. They were sleek and dark, built for war. They moved with a grace that seemed impossible for ships so large. Jin's voice cut through every communication channel. It was calm and cold. "This is Captain Jin of the Terran Defense Fleet. You are targeting refugees under our protection. Stand down immediately, or be removed." The Dracath captain stared at his screens. His tactical officer was shouting numbers and classifications. Unknown ship types, unknown weapons, unknown technology. "Terrans?" the captain said slowly. "Humans, you are myths. Stories. We are very real," Jin replied. "This is your only warning. Leave now." The Dracath captain's shock turned to anger. His species had conquered 40 worlds. They had destroyed fleets. They did not run from ghosts and legends. He smiled, showing all his teeth. "You reveal yourselves to save worthless refugees? Foolish. Now we will take your ships and your technology. Attack." The 3 Dracath warships opened fire at once. Plasma cannons lit up the darkness. Missiles streaked toward the human vessels. It was enough firepower to destroy a fleet. The human ships moved. They did not block the shots. They simply were not there when the weapons arrived. Tay's piloting was matched by 37 other human pilots, all moving in perfect coordination. The Dracath weapons hit empty space. Then the humans fired back. It was surgical, precise. Mina had been calculating the enemy ship's weak points since the moment they appeared. The other human tactical officers had done the same. Human weapons struck at shield generators, weapon systems, and engine cores. There was no wasted shot, no unnecessary damage. In 45 seconds, all 3 Dracath warships were disabled. Their weapons were offline. Their engines were dead. Their shields were gone. They floated in space, helpless. The Dracath captain stared at his dark screens in disbelief. "Impossible. Your crew will not be harmed," Jin said. "But you will not harm anyone else today. Rescue ships are being dispatched. Wait for them." Jin cut the connection. He turned to his crew. "Mina, status of the refugees?" "All ships are intact, sir. No casualties. They are sending us messages. Lots of messages. They want to know who we are. Tell them we are friends. Tay, take us to coordinates with the rest of the fleet, and someone get me Ambassador Yun. He is going to be angry that we jumped ahead of schedule." Tay laughed. "Sir, we just saved 600 people. I think he will forgive us." Hana's ship pulled alongside the Defiant Dream. Her face appeared on Jin's screen. She looked shocked and relieved and happy all at once. "Captain," she said, "I thought I was going to die doing something stupid." "You are going to die doing something brave," Jin corrected. "There is a difference. Welcome back to the fleet, Commander. It is good to stop pretending. It is good to be home." The news spread across the galaxy at the speed of light. Every ship, every station, every world heard what had happened. The Terrans were real. Humans existed. They had been hiding in the Sol sector for 300 years, and now they had returned. The reaction was chaos. Some species were excited. Others were afraid. Many simply could not believe it. The legends were supposed to be stories. Myths to inspire soldiers and scare children. But now there were sensor logs and video footage and testimony from hundreds of witnesses. Humanity had revealed itself. At the Galactic Council, Admiral Krelvoth watched the footage for the 20th time. He saw the human ships appear from nowhere. He saw them move with impossible speed and precision. He saw them disable 3 warships in less than a minute without destroying them, without killing their crews. They could have destroyed those ships, he said quietly to his aide. They had the power, but they chose to disable them instead. Yes, Admiral. Why? The aide had no answer. Krelvoth looked at the old scholar who had spoken of the legends. The scholar was smiling. You knew, Krelvoth said. You knew they were real. I believed, the scholar replied. The old texts were too detailed to be complete fiction, but I'm glad to be proven correct. What else do the legends say about them? The scholar's smile faded. Many things, Admiral. Some good, some terrible. The texts say humans are capable of great kindness and great cruelty. They say humans are the most dangerous species in the galaxy, not because they are the strongest or the fastest, but because they never stop learning. They never stop adapting. And now they are here. Yes. Krelvoth stood. Then we need to meet them, formally. The Council must know what their intentions are. Send a message to this Captain Jin. Tell him the Galactic Council requests his presence. We have questions. And if he refuses? Krelvoth looked at the frozen image on the screen, the human ships floating in formation, protecting the refugees they had saved. He will not refuse, the Admiral said. Anyone who fights to save strangers is someone we can talk to. The question is whether we will like what they have to say. Far away in the darkness beyond the known galaxy, the Dreketh Empire received the same news. Their generals watched the footage. They analyzed the human tactics. They studied the new enemy, and they began to plan. The council chamber had never been so crowded. Representatives from every member world had come to see the humans. They filled every seat, every balcony, every available space. Security officers stood at every door. The air hummed with anticipation and fear. Captain Jin walked through the main entrance with his delegation. Behind him came Ambassador Yun, moving slowly but with dignity. Commander Hana was there, no longer hiding her true identity. Admiral Sung, the Supreme Commander of the Terran Defense Fleet, walked beside Jin. He was older, with gray hair and scars on his hands. His uniform was simple but carried medals from wars no one else had seen. Dr. Nari followed them, carrying data tablets. She was a scientist, not a soldier. Her job was to explain what humans were. Behind her came Sergeant Bo, representing the ground forces. He was built like a wall with broad shoulders and steady eyes. He wore combat armor polished to a shine. The crowd whispered as they passed. Cameras captured their every movement. This was being broadcast to 1,000 worlds. Everyone wanted to see what humans looked like. Were they the monsters from scary stories? Were they the heroes from legends? They looked surprisingly normal. Admiral Krelvoth stood at the center of the chamber. Welcome to the Galactic Council. We have many questions. Admiral Sung stepped forward. We will answer what we can. Then start with the obvious one. Where have you been for 300 years? Why did you hide? Sung's face was serious. We hid because we were afraid. Not afraid of you. Afraid of ourselves. The chamber erupted in confused voices. Krelvoth raised his hand for silence. Explain. 300 years ago, we made first contact with an alien species, Sung began. It went badly. There was a misunderstanding. Words were said wrong. Actions were misread. Violence started before anyone realized what was happening. By the time we stopped, both sides had casualties. We were horrified, Jin continued the story. We realized we were too quick to fight, too quick to see threats. We came from a violent world and carried that violence with us. We feared that we would bring only war and destruction to a peaceful galaxy, so we quarantined ourselves. We went home and closed our borders. We decided to stay away until we learned to be better. For 300 years? A representative asked. We needed time, Yun said. His old voice carried across the chamber. Time to change. Time to heal. Time to learn from our mistakes. Krelvoth studied them carefully. And have you changed? We hope so, Sung replied. But that is for you to judge. Dr. Nari stepped forward. She activated a holographic display. Images appeared in the air above them. A planet covered in blue oceans and green land. Earth. This is our homeworld, she said. We call it Earth. By galactic standards, it is classified as a Class 12 death world. One of the most dangerous types of planets that can support life, the crowd murmured. Class 12 death worlds were places where nothing should survive. Most species could not even breathe the air on such planets, let alone live there. Nari continued. Earth has extreme weather, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes. It has predators that evolved specifically to hunt other predators. It has diseases that kill in hours. It has poisonous plants and venomous animals. Our planet spent 4 billion years trying to kill everything that lived on it. The hologram changed. It showed images of Earth creatures, lions hunting, snakes striking, spiders capturing prey. The crowd watched in silence. We evolved in that environment, Nari said. We had to become persistent hunters to survive. We could not outrun our prey, so we chased it for hours until it collapsed from exhaustion. We could not outfight predators, so we learned to work together in groups. We developed pattern recognition to predict animal behavior. We created tools to make ourselves stronger. The images showed early humans. Stone tools, fire, cave paintings. Most importantly, Nari continued, we developed a strange relationship with fear. Most species evolved to run from danger. We evolved to feel fear and then analyze it. Fear became information, not a command. We learned to be terrified and keep moving forward anyway. Jin spoke again. That is what makes us different. We are not fearless. We are often terrified. But we learned that fear is just our body preparing us to fight or run. We learned to choose which one. Admiral Krelvoth leaned forward. You are saying you are naturally violent. We are saying we are naturally survivors, Sung replied. Violence is a tool, not a personality. We can be violent. We can also be kind. We can destroy. We can also create. What matters is what we choose. Sergeant Bow stepped forward. Permission to share combat footage, Admiral? Krelvoth nodded. The hologram changed. It showed human Marines in battle. The crowd watched as armored figures moved through a destroyed city. Enemy fire came from all directions. One Marine was hit and fell. Immediately, 2 others grabbed him and pulled him to cover. A 3rd Marine stood in the open, firing to protect his wounded friend. The footage showed the wounded Marine being carried to safety. The carrier was limping, clearly injured himself. But he did not stop. While carrying his friend, he was singing. The audio was rough, but the tune was clear. A battle song. Something to keep them calm. Something to remind them they were not alone. We do not leave our people behind, Bo said simply. More footage played. Marines coordinating attacks without speaking, using only hand signals. Teams moving through buildings like water, each member knowing where the others would be. Wounded soldiers continuing to fight with injuries that should have dropped them. This is pack bonding, Nari explained. We form intense social connections. We treat our friends and comrades as family. This makes us stronger together than apart. The Drakath representative stood up. He was large and red-scaled, his voice full of disdain. You show us that you can fight. We already knew that. But can you build? Can you create? Or are you only good at destruction? Yun smiled. Would you like to hear our music? See our art? Learn our philosophy? We have spent 300 years creating Drakath. We have written millions of books, composed billions of songs, built cities that touch the sky and machines that explore the stars. We have learned to love peace even though we are good at war. And which do you prefer? The Drakath demanded. Peace or war? Peace, Jin said without hesitation. Always peace. But we will fight when necessary. We will fight to protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is why we revealed ourselves now. That is why we saved those refugees. Because peace without the strength to defend it is just waiting to die. The Drakath representative sneered. Pretty words. But words mean nothing. You conquered one world. Congratulations, my people have conquered 40 worlds in 5 years. What makes you think you are special? The chamber fell silent. Yun stood slowly. His old body moved stiffly, but his voice was strong. We conquered our entire world, Yun said quietly. Every continent. Every ocean. We fought wars that killed millions. We built weapons that could destroy our entire planet in minutes. We nearly did destroy it. Nearly wiped ourselves out, he paused, letting his words sink in. But we did not. We stopped. We looked at what we had become and decided to change. We unified, all of Earth, every nation, every people. We put aside our differences and chose to work together. That took us 2,000 years. Then we spent 300 more years learning to be worthy of joining you. Yun looked directly at the Drakath. You have conquered 40 worlds. We have conquered ourselves. Your move. The Drakath representative sat down, his face angry but silent. Krelvoth stood. The council must discuss this. We will vote on whether to offer humanity a place among us. He looked at Sung. Wait outside. We will call you when a decision is made. The human delegation filed out. The chamber doors closed behind them. Inside, the debate began. It lasted for 3 hours. Some species argued that humans were too dangerous to trust. Others said they had proven themselves by saving refugees. Some feared human weapons. Others admired human courage. Finally, they voted. When the doors opened again, Krelvoth's face was serious but not unfriendly. The Galactic Council has reached a decision, he announced. By a vote of 732 to 268, we offer Earth full membership in the Galactic Council. We offer military alliance with the Terran Defense Fleet. We welcome humanity to join us. Sung nodded slowly. We accept. With honor and gratitude. Then alarms screamed through the building. Red lights flashed. Krelvoth grabbed his communicator. What is happening? His aide's voice was panicked. Sir, sensors are detecting a massive Drakath fleet. 300 warships. They are heading directly for Veltara. They will be here in 5 hours. The color drained from Krelvoth's face. Veltara was the Council homeworld. If it fell, the entire galactic government would collapse. Jin looked at Sung. The old admiral's expression did not change. He simply nodded. Well, Jin said, welcome to the Alliance is usually more peaceful, but we will make it work. Admiral Sung, permission to deploy the fleet? Permission granted. All ships, battle stations, show them what humans do best. Sung turned to Krelvoth. Admiral, we will need to coordinate with your forces. We have 5 hours to prepare a defense. Let us make them count. As everyone rushed to their positions, Sergeant Bo checked his weapon and smiled. Finally, he said to no one in particular, time to really introduce ourselves. The Drakath fleet emerged from hyperspace like a swarm of locusts. 300 warships, the largest armada they had ever assembled. Their hulls were painted with the marks of their victories. 40 conquered worlds, millions enslaved. They had never lost a major battle. Today would be different. The Galactic Defense Force had managed to gather 75 ships to defend Veltara. They formed a defensive line between the planet and the incoming Drakath. It was not enough. Everyone knew it was not enough. Then the human fleet arrived. 38 ships, sleek and dark, built for war. The odds were still 4-1 against the defenders, but the humans did not seem worried. Captain Jin stood on the bridge of the Defiant Dream. His crew moved with quiet efficiency around him. Lieutenant Mina was running tactical calculations, her fingers dancing across her console. Pattern analysis complete, she said. The Drakath fight in standard hammer formation. 3 waves. First wave breaks our line. Second wave splits our fleet. Third wave destroys the separated ships. So they fight like a hammer, Jin said. Yes, sir. Then we fight like a scalpel. Send the tactical data to all human ships and the Galactic Defense Force. Highlight the weaknesses in their formation. Sending now. Admiral Krelvoth's face appeared on the screen. Captain Jin, your analysis shows gaps in their formation, but to exploit them, we would need to move our ships through enemy fire. My crews are not trained for such maneuvers. Then let us lead, Jin replied. Keep your fleet in defensive position. We will break their formation. When we do, advance and support us. You are outnumbered 10-1. Jin smiled. We have been outnumbered before. The Drakath fleet advanced. Their commander, General Throck, sat in his flagship and looked at the defenders with contempt. 75 galactic ships and 38 human vessels. They thought this would stop him. Open a channel, he ordered. Let me speak to these legendary humans. Jin's face appeared on his screen. So you are the humans, Throck said. The ghost stories made real. I expected something more impressive. We expected you to be smarter, Jin replied calmly. You are attacking the Council homeworld with your entire fleet. If you lose, your empire loses its main attack force, Throck laughed. If, there is no if. Look at your numbers. We will crush you, you can still turn back, why would I? After I destroy you, the galaxy will know that humans are just another weak species. Your legend will die here. Jin's expression did not change. You have been warned. What happens next is your choice. He cut the connection. Throck gave the order. All ships attack formation. Destroy them. The Drakath fleet surged forward. The battle began badly for the defenders. The first wave of Drakath ships hit the Galactic Defense Force line with overwhelming firepower. Shields buckled. Ships took damage. 3 vessels were destroyed in the first minute. Then the human ships engaged. Tay's hands moved across his controls. The Defiant Dream dove through the Drakath formation. Plasma fire filled the space around them, but Tay was already gone, already moving. Behind him, 37 other human pilots did the same. They did not fly like they were in individual ships. They flew like they were parts of a single organism. Targeting enemy shield generators, Mina said. Her voice was steady despite the chaos around them. Human weapons were not the most powerful in the galaxy, but they were precise. Every shot hit exactly where it was meant to. Shield generators exploded. Weapon systems went offline. The Drakath ships did not explode. They were simply disabled, drifting, helpless. They are not killing them, Krelvoth said in amazement. They could destroy those ships, but they are just disabling them. His tactical officer nodded. The humans are targeting specific systems. It takes more skill than just blowing ships apart. Why would they do that? Perhaps they do not like killing when they do not have to. On the ground, Drakath shock troops teleported into the capital city of Veltara. They appeared in the streets, heavily armed and armored. The civilian population fled in terror. Local security forces tried to fight back but were quickly overwhelmed. Sergeant Bo and his Marines landed 3 minutes later. Bo had 60 Marines with him. The Drakath had 500 troops in the city. On paper, it should have been a massacre. But Bo did not fight on paper. Standard urban defense, he ordered. Teams of 4. Use the buildings. Make them come to us. The Marines split up immediately. They moved through the city like shadows. The Drakath were strong and savage. They were good at direct combat. But the Marines did not fight directly. A squad of Drakath soldiers moved down a street looking for targets. Windows shattered above them. Human weapons fired from 3 different buildings. The Drakath returned fire, but the Marines were already gone. By the time the Drakath reached the buildings, the humans had moved to new positions. They are like ghosts, a Drakath officer reported. We cannot pin them down. Bo listened to the enemy communications. Human technology could break most encryption. He smiled. They are getting frustrated, he told his Marines. Good, frustrated enemies make mistakes.
Keep moving.
Keep hitting them. Do not let them rest. The Drakath began to group together in larger squads for safety. That was exactly what Bo wanted. Larger groups were easier to track. Easier to trap. A Drakath platoon entered a plaza. Buildings surrounded them on all sides. It looked like a perfect ambush site. Their commander was smart enough to be suspicious. Spread out, he ordered. Watch the windows. But the attack did not come from the windows. It came from below. The Marines had used the city's underground service tunnels. They emerged from manholes and subway entrances, firing from behind the Drakath. By the time the enemy turned around, the Marines had civilians with them. Do you see? Bo called out to the Drakath. These people live here. We are teaching them to fight back. Every building is a fortress. Every street is a trap. You can kill us, but you will never hold this city. Local defenders, emboldened by the Marines' presence, began to fight back. Office workers threw debris from windows. Emergency services blocked streets. The entire city became hostile territory for the Drakath. In space, the battle was turning. The human ships were everywhere at once. General Throck could not predict their movements. Every time he sent ships to counter them, the humans were already gone. His perfect formation was breaking apart. They are making us chase them, his tactical officer said, splitting our fleet into smaller groups. I can see that. Throck roared. All ships reform the main battle line. Stop chasing them, but it was too late. The Drakath fleet was scattered, and scattered ships were vulnerable. Now, Jin said quietly, the Galactic Defense Force, which had been holding the defensive line, suddenly advanced. With the Drakath formation broken, they could engage on equal terms. Ship-to-ship combat began across the entire battlefield. The Drakath still had numbers, but they did not have coordination. The human ships and galactic vessels worked together perfectly. Human pilots created openings. Galactic ships exploited them. They were not just allies. They were partners. Jin saw his opening. The Drakath flagship was protected by 50 other ships, but those ships were now spread out, dealing with other threats. Mina, plot a course to the flagship. We are going to board it. Sir, the flagship has 5,000 crew members. We have 40 people. Then we will need to be creative. Commander Hana's voice came over the communication line. Captain, I volunteer to join the boarding party. I know galactic ship designs. Their technology is similar to Drakath systems. Welcome aboard, Commander. Meet us at the boarding bay. The Defiant Dream and 3 other human ships broke through the Drakath defensive screen. They attached to the flagship's hull like ticks on a dog. Cutting lasers burned through the armor. Boarding ramps extended. Jin led the way, his rifle ready. Behind him came 20 Marines. Hana followed, carrying a datapad loaded with schematics. The fighting inside the ship was brutal. Drakath warriors were bigger and stronger than humans. In a straight fight, they had the advantage. But the boarding team did not fight straight. They used the ship's corridors against the enemy. Narrow spaces where size was a disadvantage. They used smoke grenades and flashbangs to disorient opponents. They moved as a unit, never alone, always covering each other. They are heading for the bridge, a Drakath officer shouted into his communicator. Stop them! But the Marines were already past that position, moving through maintenance tunnels and service shafts. Hana guided them, reading the ship's layout from her pad. They reached the bridge. General Throck stood there, surrounded by his command staff. His weapon was drawn. So the humans come to me, he said. Good, I will kill you myself. Jin did not raise his weapon. You have already lost. Look at your screens. Throck glanced at his tactical display. His fleet was in chaos. Ships were disabled or retreating. The defenders were winning. One battle, Throck growled. This is one battle. It is the only battle that matters today, Jin replied. Surrender your ship. Order your troops to stand down. This fight is over. I do not surrender. Then you die here, along with your crew. Is your pride worth 5,000 lives? Throck raised his weapon, but before he could fire, his entire command staff put down their weapons. General, his second officer said quietly, we have families. We have homes. This war is lost. Let us live to see them again. 1 month after the Battle of Veltara, the galaxy was different. Human ships now patrolled alongside vessels from 100 different species. Human advisors worked at military academies, teaching tactics and strategy. Integration was not easy. Many species struggled to understand human ways of thinking, but slowly change was happening. Commander Hana stood in a training facility on a space station orbiting Earth. Around her, alien officers from 20 different worlds practiced combat formations. A Veltaran officer raised his hand. Commander, I do not understand. You say we should feel fear during battle. But fear makes us weak. Fear makes us hesitate, Hana smiled. She had heard this question many times. Fear does not make you weak. Fear is information. Your body is telling you there is danger. The question is what you do with that information. Do you run, or do you think, plan, and act? A Krelon officer spoke up. But your species charges into danger. You fight when others would flee. How is that not fearless? Because we are terrified, Hana said honestly. Every human soldier I know has been scared in combat. But we learned something important. Being brave does not mean feeling no fear. Being brave means doing what needs to be done even though you are afraid. She activated a holographic display. It showed a human Marine from the Battle of Veltara. The Marine's vital signs were displayed alongside the video. Heart rate elevated, adrenaline high, stress hormones flooding the system. Watch his body signals, Hana said. This Marine is scared. His body is in pure panic mode. But watch what he does. The video showed the Marine moving forward under heavy fire. He reached a wounded alien soldier and picked them up. He carried them to safety while still firing his weapon. His hands were steady. His movements were controlled. Fear is just a feeling, Hana explained. Feelings are not commands. We feel fear. We acknowledge it. And then we choose our actions based on logic and duty, not emotion. The alien officers looked thoughtful. This was a new concept for many of them. Most species evolved to obey their fear. Humans evolved to analyze it. Captain Jin sat in a command meeting with Admiral Krelvoth and officers from the Galactic Defense Force. They were planning joint operations. The Drakath had retreated to their home system, but intelligence suggested they were building something dangerous. We need to strike soon, a Veltaran admiral said, before they complete whatever weapon they are constructing. Agreed, Jin replied. But we should be strategic. A direct assault on their homeworld would cost thousands of lives. Krelvoth studied the tactical maps. What do you suggest? We isolate them first, cut off their supply lines, Force them to negotiate or weaken themselves trying to break out. War is not about destroying your enemy. It is about removing their ability and will to fight. A Krelon general frowned. That could take months. Many of our worlds are still under Drakath occupation. Our people suffer every day we wait. Jin nodded. I know, and we will liberate those worlds. But rushing into a fight against a cornered enemy with a superweapon is how you lose more people, not save them. Lieutenant Mina entered the room. Sirs, our scouts have new intelligence. The Drakath weapon is not offensive. It is defensive. A massive shield generator that would make their homeworld nearly impossible to attack. They are afraid, Krelvoth said in surprise. Of course they are, Jin replied. We broke their fleet. We proved they can lose. Now they know fear. The question is whether they will let that fear make them defensive or aggressive. Far across the galaxy, Ambassador Yoon worked with the Galactic Council on integration policies. Human culture was spreading fast, too fast for some species. There were protests on several worlds. Humans were too violent, too aggressive, too different, but there were also celebrations. Human music played in alien clubs. Human food became popular in restaurants. Human stories were translated into 1,000 languages. The galaxy was discovering that humans were not just warriors. They were artists, poets, and dreamers. Yun met with concerned representatives in a quiet conference room. You must understand our worry, a representative said. Your species has weapons that frighten us. Your soldiers are trained for violence. What if you turn on us one day? Yun looked at the representative with patient eyes. That is a reasonable fear. Let me ask you this. What stops you from turning on your neighbors? We are civilized. We believe in peace. So do we, Yun replied. We have laws. We have ethics. We have values. Yes, we are good at violence. But being good at something does not mean you prefer it. I am good at lying. I spent decades hiding my true identity among you. But I do not enjoy lying. I prefer honesty. Another representative spoke. But you come from a death world. Violence is in your nature. Cooperation is also in our nature, Yun countered. So is curiosity, creativity, and compassion. We are complicated, just like every species. Judge us by our choices, not our capabilities. Dr. Nari ran cultural exchange programs on multiple worlds. Humans learned alien philosophy, history, and art. In return, they shared Earth's diverse cultures. Korean music performances happened alongside African storytelling and European classical concerts. The galaxy learned that humanity was not one culture, but thousands working together. An alien student approached her after a lecture. Dr. Nari, I am confused. Your species fought terrible wars against each other, nation against nation, culture against culture. How did you stop? Nari smiled sadly. We almost did not. We nearly destroyed ourselves. But we learned that we had a choice. We could keep fighting over our differences, or we could celebrate them. It took time. It took pain. Many people died before we figured it out, but eventually we decided that peace was worth the effort. And you think other species can learn this too? I think anyone can learn from mistakes if they want to. The Drakath are learning it now. Sergeant Bo trained the first integrated marine unit, 20 humans and 40 aliens from various species. The training was brutal. Bo did not lower standards for anyone. A Veltaran recruit collapsed during a long-distance run. His species was not built for endurance. Bo stopped the entire unit. Pick him up, he ordered. 2 humans moved to help. Bo shook his head. No, Veltarans, pick up your brother. Carry him! 3 Veltaran recruits hesitated, then moved to help their fallen comrade. They struggled with his weight. Bo walked beside them. This is what we do, he said. We do not leave anyone behind. It does not matter if they are human or alien. If they are on your team, they are family. Family does not get left behind. The Veltarans carried their friend the rest of the way. At the end, they were exhausted. But they had done it together. Intelligence reports confirmed the Drakath were completing their defense shield. The council faced a decision. Attack now with heavy losses or wait and let them finish their defense. Admiral Sung proposed something different. We talked to them. The room fell silent. Talk? Krelvoth asked. They are our enemy. They are people who made bad choices, Sung corrected. People who thought conquest was the path to greatness. We were like that once. We learned better. Maybe they can too. And if they refuse, then we tried. But I think they are afraid right now. Afraid people make desperate choices. If we offer them a better path, they might take it. Jin volunteered to lead the diplomatic mission. It was dangerous. The Drakath might attack instead of talking, but he went anyway, with a small fleet and a message of peace. The Drakath leadership received them with suspicion. General Throck, released from custody as a sign of good faith, was there. He looked at Jin with complicated emotions. "You defeated us," Throck said. "Why not destroy us?" "Because we do not believe in revenge," Jin replied. "We believe in consequences and rehabilitation. You invaded worlds and hurt people. Those are crimes. But they do not require your extinction. They require you to change. And if we do not want to change, then you stay isolated behind your shield. Cut off from the galaxy. No trade, no contact, no future. Is that what you want for your children?" Throck was quiet for a long time. Finally he spoke. "What would you have us do?" "Return the worlds you conquered. Pay reparations to those you hurt. Join the Galactic Council under supervision. Learn to live with others instead of conquering them. It will take time. It will be hard. But it is possible." The negotiations took weeks. The Drakath were proud. Admitting defeat was painful. But they were also practical. They could not win against the combined forces of humanity and the Galactic Council. Isolation was slow death. They agreed to terms. The war ended not with fire and blood, but with signatures on a treaty. 5 years later, Captain Jin stood on the observation deck of a space station orbiting Earth. He was older now, with gray in his hair. Hana stood beside him, now an admiral herself. They watched ships from 100 worlds pass by. A young alien officer approached. She was Drakath, part of a new generation growing up in peace. "Admiral Jin, may I ask you something?" "Of course." "Is it true what they say about humans? That you are the most dangerous species in the galaxy?" Jin thought about the question. He remembered the battles, the fear, the losses, but he also remembered the choices they had made, the mercy they had shown, the friends they had gained. "Maybe we were once," he said finally, "but we learned something important. The most dangerous thing is not what you can destroy. It is what you choose to protect."